Hey crafters, this is Mai here. So today we are going to assemble an atom structure candy dome. I'm going to be using my art glitter glue here for all of my gluing. And I also have my hot glue gun off camera. That's what I will be using to glue down my dome here. So let's just get started right away. As you can see, I have all of my pieces here. They're cut out. I have stacked up the structure here, and I am ready for gluing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift up this piece and I'm going to just begin to glue these 3 layers together. Now, I cut this middle layer in craft board. If you don't have craft board, that's okay. I would just maybe cut 2 extra sheets of this one. I think it was hot pink in the file. I would just cut 2 extra sheets of this though. You really don't want to just have these 2 layers together unless your cardstock is really heavy, because it's just going to be a little bit really flimsy. And with the weight of the dome and the candy on it, it might not hold up really well. So I went ahead and I cut a layer in craft board, and I'm going to glue this here right in the center. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and just kind of add my glue everywhere here, just kind of all over, and just making sure that I get all of the spots, because this is going to be one where, because of the structure of the atom here, it's just kind of, there's just lots of openings, and we really want to make sure that the glue is just going to go everywhere. So your alignment is going to be really important here as well. As you can see, I've got my fingers going through this here at the bottom. I'm going to stick this one here towards the top, and I'm using my fingers to just help me get everything lined up correctly. All right, so that looks good. And I've got glue on my fingers, so I'm going to put that right there. And then what you want to do is, just before you add the glue to the top layer, you again just want to go back and make sure that your alignment is correct. Because if you've got it going, like you obviously saw, I just flipped mine over. If you've got it going this way, then what you're going to find is it won't line up correctly if you've got anything flipped. So you really want to make sure that the orientation is really important for this one. And so again, I'm just going to add the glue here all over, just going around to all of the different spots here to make sure that I've got the glue everywhere and on all of the pieces of the paper to make sure that it stays adhered and it doesn't lift up. All right, that looks good. And so I'm going to do the same thing, kind of use my fingers as a ruler and a guide to get everything lined up right in the correct position. Okay, I've got some glue seeping here at the bottom. Okay, and then just press everything down. And so you'll see that kind of gives it a little bit of sturdiness with the craft board, just to kind of help for that support. It's going to be really important here. Okay, so for this center part here, I added this red piece. It's just kind of representing my nucleus. It had to, when I was designing it, I just had to have something there in the center, obviously, because we need some kind of support for the candy. So I just decided to make it a different color for the nucleus here. Oh, I think my glue might be ending up getting a little bit clogged. Look at that. That's so funny. It always happens when I'm making a video, never when I'm just kind of crafting on my own. Every single time without fail. Okay. And so again, the same thing here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my 2 fingers there and just allow those to help me with my alignment. I'm going to push this one up right there at the bottom to make sure that it's all in the right position there. And let me see if I can just push my pin in here to maybe push whatever clog that was out of the way. That's kind of crazy. Every time though, without fail, it happens when I'm making a video. Okay, and so I flipped it over now to the back because I'm going to add this red piece to the back side as well, just to kind of, again, show the nucleus. Even though my opening mechanism is going to be there, I do just kind of want to have this piece here. And so I've got it there. I'm going to go ahead. Well, that definitely did it because you can see it's coming out better. And I'm going to, again, just do the same thing here, using my fingers as a guide to help it out. Okay. All right, so that takes care of that part. Now, I've got my blue circles here. These just represent my electrons that are hanging out here in their orbital path. I'm just going to go ahead and press these down right on top of where they are here. Now, the only reason why I did this one on the front and the back is just because normally I wouldn't, I wouldn't care that much about the back of a design. But this one I just felt it needed it just in case, because you don't know which way you're going to do it. And I'll show you in a moment, because what can happen will be, whoops, there we go. What can happen is just going to be the orientation of how we go to add the mechanism at the end. That will kind of have an effect here. So again, I'm just adding the glue right there and just adding glue to the circles, or the electrons, I should say. That's what they're representing here in the orbital path. And this last one. Okay, there we go. All right. So that looks good. Okay. All right, so let's put the mechanism together. And I'm just checking my glue again because I don't really know what could be going on here. So interesting. Every time I make a video. All right, so we've got 5 pieces here to the mechanism. I've got these 2 that are exactly the same. I'm going to glue these down together. These are just here to add support to the centerpiece, which is the slider. That's what these 2 pieces are going to represent. So I'm just gluing those there. Then I'm going to take these 2 pieces, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to line them up right on top of each other here. And I do just want to check the orientation of these. It was this way. The one side is just a hair bigger. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my glue everywhere here. I'm going to flip it over. And then again, just using my fingers here to help me to get it in the right position, and then pressing it down. Okay, so now I've got 2 tabs right here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of glue to those tabs, and then I'm gonna fold them over right on top and press and hold it, and just hold it there and give it a second so the paper bonds to each other. And then I'm gonna put this one down. Well, let's just go ahead. Take the slider, the centerpiece there, place it over the opening. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece and we're going to place it over the opening there. And that's how they're going to sandwich together. But before I go and do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one, I'm going to flip it over this way. I'm going to add a dab of glue right here and right here. Then I'm going to fold these over, these 2 tabs, just these 2. On top of the glue. And then I'm going to take those 2 tabs, grab this piece here, and what I'm going to do is these 2 tabs here are going to meet up with the 2 tabs that I created on that other piece. So they're going to kiss each other. And what I'm going to do now though is I'm going to add just a dab of glue to that, and then I'm going to line them up right on top of each other. So that way they kiss each other right there. All right. And then just press and hold them there and give it a second to dry and to bond. Okay. And so what will happen now is we will have this slider that will slide right through here. And I think I got mine off just a little bit, but it'll be okay. We'll make it work. Okay, so as you can see, I glued those 2 together and then I flipped it over. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add glue just kind of along here where these tabs are gonna go. And so I'm just gonna add a little bit right there. Next, I'm gonna take my fingernail and I'm going to just kind of bend the paper here and fold it over. Now, when you go to do this part, you don't want to make it super tight against these two pieces. You want to give a little bit of wiggle room. So I don't know if you can see, but there's just a little bit of a bubble that sticks out right there. And that's just to allow for a little bit of wiggle room with the slider. So I'm doing the next one, just pressing it down there, and then just holding it for a moment to give the glue a chance to bond and to dry. I'm going to do the same thing here along the bottom, and then we'll do the same thing along the other side as well. And if you have any glue seeping, if you have any glue seeping, that's okay. This whole back side is going to end up getting glued down, so no worries about it at all. Okay, so that's this part. If any part of it starts to come up again, just go back and press it down and hold it. If you need to add a little bit more glue, like I'm going to do right here, that's okay too. Again, just press it and hold it down there. Give it a chance to dry. Okay, so now for this side, same steps, same thing. All right, same thing here. It really can go pretty quickly. It doesn't take a lot here for the glue to dry and everything. And then now for these parts here at the top, we're going to do the same thing, these two tabs, not this one, because that's how we're going to grab our slider. And then just press those two down and then hold them. And then this one's really not wanting to stay down, but that's okay. And then what you'll see is that you can slide it to open. This one's a little bit tight, but that's okay. Sometimes it just takes time for the paper to kind of work. And there we go. Okay. This one's really not staying. Okay. All right. So then we're going to go ahead and we're going to glue this part down. Now, because we did it on the same side, it's really up to you how you want to make it the front and the back. What you do want to do is go ahead and make sure that your slider is open. And I'm just going to do this part here. We're going to line it up right here on the back. So it doesn't really matter. Like you can see that this one's going to go this way, or if you wanted to, you could do it on this side here too. It'll be all right. It doesn't really matter there. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead. I've got my slider open, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add the glue, not to the slider part, but to the other areas of the paper that are helping to hold the slider in place. And then I'm going to go ahead and press that opening down right over the opening that's actually on the atom. And if you need to, you can flip it over to the other side. You'll see a little bit there, and that's just because of the slider. But once you have it, then just press it down. And again, if you have any glue seeping, it's okay. If you're using the art glitter glue like I am, it'll dry clear, so no worries, no big deal at all. All right. And now what I'm going to do though is with my slider, I'm going to bend this tab here just a little bit. And the only reason why I'm going to do that is because it's going to give me a little bit more leverage as I go to open and close it right there. And so you can see that open and close mechanism is working and it's good to go. I'm going to leave it closed. I'm going to flip it over to this side, keeping it closed. And now we're ready to use our hot glue. Okay, so I've got my dome here. This is an 80mm dome or 3.14 inches. And you can decide, so it's got this little tab, you can decide like how you want it. It's gonna fit right over our little red circle here. You can decide how you want it to fit, like where you want it to go. This tab, do you want it? I like to put mine towards the bottom, so that way it's not like up here at the top, but it's personal preference, you know. You can do it whichever way you want. I'm gonna do mine over to this side though, because I feel like there's just a little bit more paper that's gonna be able to kind of hide it and hold it there. All right, so you do just kind of want to line it up, kind of get the orientation here. Now you have a choice when you go to use your hot glue gun. You can either glue it directly to here, to the dome, or you can go right along the edge here. I'm going to do mine right on the dome this time. Whoa. You can see that one kind of. I'm going to do mine right on the dome though this time. Sometimes I do it on the paper, but I'm doing it on the dome this time only because I don't want to have too much that seeps out. And I'm just going all the way around the edge here. It's definitely steaming up here. My glue is looking a little yellowish too. And then just press it down. All right, and then press it down and just hold it there and give it a chance for it to really dry. It's so interesting, my glue. Like, I probably left it on or something. All right. And once you have it down and it's glued and it's firm, what you want to do is then just flip it over. Open it up. I've got a little bit of a string there. I could see it on the other side. And then you can take your candy and just add it right in there. Now you do want to make sure too that when you're adding the candy that you're using candy that's individually wrapped, because as you could see, like some of the glue kind of went towards the inside and you don't want any candy to get stuck there. So that was enough. And so there we go. We've got this fun little atom structure candy dome for World Science Day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and happy crafting.